Hello loves, today I am bringing you the long-awaited how I make my models. So this is a 1/16 model. If you guys watched the day of my life, you already know that I was prepping for this. So basically here's my building design. It is a urban housing unit and complex that is embedded with a aquaponics section and a traditional farming scape and a vertical garden. After prepping the files, I start 3D printing everything. Honestly, 3D printing everything took the most amount of time and prepping these files. After that, honestly, this was just a process. You're gonna see me in pain a lot here, but after that, I just had to remove the brim or raft print and basically just cut all of that out. And I spent one night doing this. It was one all-nighter, and I just really wanted to get ahead of the game here.
So I'm the only one here. It's close to 1, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. I am 3D printing a lot at once, which is great. It's also a great benefit if you are doing studio final review. Get your model done early and then focus on your drawings later. It's okay if your model's a little bit less developed and then you can just work on your drawings.
So I really was the only one in studio at this time. Here's some ASMR. I love ASMR, so I'll just be quiet. Basically how this is going to go is I have the 3D printed pieces. I cut off the supports. I then have to sand down all of the edges using sandpaper, obviously. I have an acrylic base. The backside of that is spray painted blue to represent the aquaponics section. I then take all of these 3D printed components and try and situate them. This took several days, by the way. It just did not take one all-nighter. It took a couple, honestly. Just the assembly process was kind of painful. So here you can see I am peeling my floor plates that will actually sit above this aquaponics / enterprise center, and these will later be spray painted white. Unfortunately, the laser cutter did not cut everything all the way through, so that is what I'm doing here. I have to hand cut it. A little unfortunate, I know. I feel like when I am 3D modeling, I make a bunch of mistakes, but honestly, I find that sanding and smoothing things out really makes a huge difference in the quality and craftsmanship. So I highly recommend that. Always double check, take things down before you glue. Hot glue can definitely be messy. I recommend getting a set of tweezers. I'll link the ones I used down below. This gets rid of all the wispies. Also, please ignore my face here. I was super duper focused. Anyway, this is where it's at right now, and honestly at this point I'm just exhausted. This is the blue acrylic that I was talking about. I peel off one side of it. The glassy side is the side that remains exposed. This is a giant plane. This is my traditional farming landscape. Honestly, this was the most painful print to cut out all of the supports. It just refused to come out and it was just really dense. I am playing around with the pieces that make up the lower level and enterprise level. Now, if I were to do this again, I would print smarter. I had so many small pieces that could have definitely been grouped together, so paying attention to how you set up your print files is super important. So here's the current state of it. Nothing's glued down yet, but I just wanted to put it together, and in this beautiful site model, I had a ceiling printing, and honestly, I didn't even use this. It didn't really work, and nobody saw it anyway, so I just left that off. Testing is super important when it comes to model making. Here is the core part, and this is printed with a clear filament. Then I begin spray painting all of my floor plates. They kind of warped, unfortunately, because the material was really light, but I need it to be light because it's not really supported. This building's kind of standing on toothpicks, if I'm being honest. Once again, another all-nighter. I am gluing these little sides to support my floors. I am not doing the exterior shell, which would just make this top part super duper heavy, so I just didn't think it was worth it. Here you can see me also using these tweezers like I mentioned. Craftsmanship really comes down to these super minor details, so getting rid of those hot glue stick wisps, making sure that everything's clean and all white is really good. I did the separation of color as well, so the base is going to be this brown that kind of relates to the site model as well, and then the top edition is white. So you can also play around with model colors and materials if you're trying to show something in your final presentation. Here you can see me attaching this top new part, and I wanted to make it removable so it's not actually glued down, and this was a tricky modeling problem and dilemma I had to personally solve. Overall, I am super happy with the results. My reviewers during my final review absolutely loved the fact that I could show the progression, and I was really praised for this. Generally speaking, this is one of my best models yet. The top part, in that plane with all those tubes sticking out, by the way, if you're curious, is a trellising system, and they kind of leak down into the aquaponics section, so I'm actually really happy with these results. Last thing I wanted to mention was I actually had to also build a quarter scale model, and that involved me laser cutting all these little window pieces for the mullions. I had way too much fun with the entourage. You can see the rice patties here, and once again, just a really complex model. I had to make it the top part light again, so that's primarily constructed with foam core and 3D printed components. The base is 3D printed, so it's a bit heftier. Anyway, I'm happy you watched this far, and thanks for tuning in. Love you guys.